So, Kelly, are you a kind of guy who likes to grip it with both hands?
I regret the intro to the last show we recorded because I only encourage someone to do the same. Uh, a game controller, yes, Mike. I assume that's what you're asking about.
Of
And
course,
yes,
Kelly,
I
of
I
course.
am not a single hander with my game controller.
Well, as Kelly and I actually mentioned before, I saw this mentioned in a couple of reviews that there was a game or two for Nintendo 64 that you could actually play one player using two controllers to kind of give you a dual analog stick before that was a common thing. Again, for people who aren't aware, Nintendo 64 really helped popularize analog sticks, period. They weren't the first ones to do it, but it really popularized it. And dual analog sticks were not commonplace yet. So you could actually plug in two controllers and do it that way for a few games. And I remember reading, I think that the ones I was aware of were GoldenEye and the Star Wars Pod Racer game were the two that I was aware of. Pod Racer seemed particularly interesting because there are two engines on the pods. So you're controlling the engines separately when you do that. I'm not good enough at it normal style that I'm not going to make that kind of jump. But I came across an old Stop Skeletons from Fighting video where he had found someone who a homemade sort of project made like a Franken Nintendo 64 controller by melding two of the Trident style controllers together. So he used that as an opportunity to cover all of the games that allowed you to do this. So you were obviously an early adopter. I'm a more recent adopter of Nintendo 64. Were you aware of this feature at the time and have you tried any games that way?
I haven't yet. I kind of share the same problem challenge you do in that my pod racing game is not strong yet, although I'm doing decent. But so I'm like, I don't know. I'm barely getting by on a single controller. I do, and he had some gameplay doing Pod Racer on his video. It's a great video, by the way. Link in the description. It it looked like so. Well, maybe that might help me because that might. I have an overcorrection problem, and that seems like that might lend itself to take a little of the edge off of that. So I haven't yet. I want to try it with Pod Racer. I've got Perfect Dark to try it with. I've got GoldenEye. Well, I've got everything to try it with, of course, which we discussed because of the EverCard. But Pod Racer is where I want to go on it as well. Have you so you've opted out on Pod Racer, but I know you're a big Perfect Dark guy and a uh GoldenEye fan as well, like many of us are. So have you tried it on any of those games yet?
So I haven't tried it yet. I think Perfect Dark is going to be the one to try it on, just because I've never really sat down and played all the way through Perfect Dark yet. And now that I have some memory packs and things like that, I think that's a mission that I'll be on soon. So I might, after I play through it, go back and try some levels that way.
Yeah, it was the device that he shared in the video was it was definitely homemade. It looked pretty good. I mean, particularly from a distance, it looked great. You can
Yeah.
get some close-ups on it, and the Bondo or whatever he used to kind of facilitate the meld, that maybe could have been a little smoother in places, but overall, it was just pretty impressive. And it was like on eBay for $15, which is like a steal. So, I don't think there are a lot of those kicking around. But yeah, I want to try it. I wish I had, and I have quite a few Nintendo 64 controllers, but I'm not prepared to sacrifice any of them to do this combination. Although it's a little tempting, but for 5 games, a couple of which are in pretty decent rotation. I don't know. So were you familiar with the Robotron remake they had done on the
No.
64? I hadn't. That looks like some pretty good gameplay. So that may be one we check out and do a Panda review on because it looked all right. But that was another one that uh, I could see how it could make sense to kind of have that dual joystick type of thing. But yeah, I mean, they may not have been the first, but they were definitely the one that got it to the mass market with the analog stick, and they're at B from there on out. It became pretty clear. Wouldn't work well with the revised ones, I don't think, though.
No. And what I was thinking though when I was watching this, like you said, from a distance, this person's build looked pretty good. Up close, you can kind of see the rough edges of it. But the first thing I thought of is obviously somebody like you could 3D print something like that and make a
Yeah,
much
I think that.
smoother
Yeah,
transition.
I think that would actually be pretty cool. And I bet you that would be really easy to do because I'm almost positive there's some 3D models out there for the shell of a regular Nintendo 64 controller. So you just take that bad boy, slice it, connect it, mirror it, slice, connect it up. And I'm not sure as you take apart the controller, how involved the innards are to kind of get attached to it. But building the shell, you could create a super smooth one out of 3 cartridges, and you could do it in blue transparent filament. It would be just amazing. So yeah, to tempting. It would require me. Maybe I can find a video. I'm sure there's one out there of somebody doing an autopsy on a Nintendo 64 controller. so so I can see what I'm getting myself into and then do it. That might be it. That might be a good way to go though. Give that a shot. So, hey, let us know in the comments if you'd like to, because even if I don't do it, I'd be happy to make the 3D model so that you could and get that out there. I think I may do that. Period, because it's just. But I need to understand a little bit if that's going to be practical. I think there's going to be a few things that'll be a little bit tricky, like the trigger mechanism and all that. You've got to get that to work right. But
I would assume you'd be taking that from the existing controller, but I
the
don't know. I've never taken one of these apart, so
yeah, yeah, that's where I got to really count on an already accurate full model of the existing shell because if I've got to ballpark it on that, that's where like on the trigger, I'm sure there's a pivot point in there. You got to get that snapped into work and all that. And I can get close with most of the stuff I do, but since the main CAD software I use is, you know, typically advertises great for elementary school kids to learn about 3D. Again, I've just yet to be able to manage Onshape, which would be a kind of more of a higher end 3D CAD type of package. So I use Tinkercad. It works well with me and for what I've done so far. But one of these days I'll get decent at Onshape, I hope. But I don't know if I have time to learn it because I'm spending all the time doing Doom maps lately. That's where all my time's going. So
it's a
um,
great Doom map. Everybody watching this should go check that out.
yeah, yeah, an update's coming, folks. Eventually, a little bit of work. Very excited about it. So cool. Well, let us know if maybe now you need to put 3 of these controllers together and just be like two-headed and three-headed and four-headed shark attack. Um, but yeah, that thing did. I mean, and he's kicked off the video with, yeah, he thought it looked kind of weird with the kind of 3 handles. How about 4? What do you think then? So weird looking thing. It's big too, beefy. So let's see. But let us
That
know
would
if
look great
you're.
on my controller rack. Just saying.
It would. You actually would. I could print you the shell. You could create a fake one, put it up there. Um, yeah, but let us know in the comments if seems like a niche area of interest, but if you're interested in doing this, or if you'd like to see a 3D model out there that that accomplishes it, because I certainly would get after it. Particularly, we hear from any of our folks watching that they'd like to have one out there. I'll step away from the Doom mapping for a little while. Excellent. Anything else for tonight, sir?
No, I think that's it. Now you have me curious about getting one of these up on my wall.
We'll look into that. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Bog, Panda.